Check out the mysterious smallpox vaults. Are these doors shut forever? Imagine, it was eradicated years ago, smallpox, but then the virus still remains in vials, waiting for further research in case of any crisis or disaster. Scary, isn't it? But then listen to this episode and understand how powerful the human being is, how weak the human being is in front of natural calamity. Come, let's go to these vaults of smallpox. Our next door will open your mind to a vast knowledge of biology and disease management that is of global interest. Do you know that deadly diseases which existed in the times of yore and were eradicated by mankind also left back a trace stream for further research? Just imagine, just when you thought you will never hear of this terrible surge again, you read of a few vials of the causative agent still available, all safely locked up in a vault with big, inaccessible and guarded doors. With all of us so freshly trying to get out of the COVID pandemic, this thought is scary. Let us go to the doors that guard the primordial bacterial strains of the most deadly diseases that mankind has encountered, smallpox. Smallpox is believed to have first infected humans around the time of the earliest agricultural settlements, some 12,000 years ago. No surviving evidence of it, however, predates the so-called New Kingdom of Egypt, which lasted about 1570 BC to 1085 BC. Smallpox is a deadly and highly contagious disease and has killed millions throughout the course of human history. It has been found in the tombs of Egyptian mummies and has claimed the lives of kings, queens, and peasants alike. The disease causing a painful pus-filled rash to erupt all over the body and leads to hemorrhages, organ failure, and death. It's been preventable since 1798, thanks to Edward Jenner, who discovered a vaccine. But it took until the 1960s for humankind to really tackle smallpox head-on. Edward Jenner was an English scientist who lived in the 18th century. He introduced the first vaccine, which was the smallpox virus. In 1796, Jenner noticed the milkmaids who had caught the cowpox virus did not normally then catch smallpox. Cowpox was very similar to smallpox, but less contagious. He collected the pus from cowpox blisters on a milkmaid's hands and purposely infected a small boy. The boy was taken ill for a short time, but then resistant to any subsequent infections of the cowpox and smallpox viruses. He tested this by infecting the boy with smallpox, but no illness occurred. According to the World Health Organization, Jenner's was the first successful vaccine to be developed. But the good news is, thanks to modern medicine, smallpox has now been eradicated, except not completely. Did you know that the last few samples of the most deadly disease strains are kept safely? Tiny amounts of the disease lives on, frozen inside top-secret military bioweapon facilities in both the USA and Russia. If either sample is ever unleashed, the disease could multiply and kill millions once again. Many have argued that the last remaining sample should be destroyed, but neither the USA nor Russia seem willing to do this. They say it's required so that they could make better vaccines in case smallpox comes back from some forgotten source or potentially freshly engineered source by terrorists. But some fear that the US is holding on to it because Russians have it, and the Russians are holding on to it because Americans still have it. Both sides are using this deadly disease as an insurance policy in a new biological arms race. Well, whatever be the truth, let's all hope this locked vault is never opened again. Scientists have been debating whether to destroy the last samples. When the world eradicated smallpox in 1980, it was the first and still the only time that people have been able to completely wipe out a human disease. What a victory for mankind. Ever since then, scientists and health experts have been debating whether to destroy the last remaining lab samples of the smallpox virus and eliminate the risk of the virus ever escaping. The case for destroying smallpox is simple enough. What if the virus escapes out of the lab or is smuggled out? That could possibly be a disaster, especially since half of the world has never been vaccinated for smallpox. Smallpox kills about a third of the people it infects. It's serious business. But there are also lots of reasons to putting off destroying the virus. The most commonly cited is that smallpox is needed to finish research and developments on vaccines and drugs that could fight a future breakout. The US has said that it wants to wait. Russia has too. Yet there's a third possibility here. Smallpox might never get destroyed. For better or for worse, this seems the most likely scenario. And here are the 5 reasons why. Reason 1, the US and Russia likely won't trust each other to destroy smallpox samples. The current battle over smallpox is often as much a political one as a health one. That's because the 2 labs that have smallpox are in the United States and Russia. Russia destroyed 200 samples without letting the World Health Organization verify this. This means that either Russia actually destroyed them or just effectively took them off the record books. The World Health Organization condensed the stocks into these labs not soon after smallpox was eradicated in 1980, creating a balanced Cold War stare down between the 2 nations. And even though it's not the Cold War anymore, there's still a lot of tension. These 2 countries have been the most vocal about keeping the stocks, citing reasons related to public health. But there are also reasons that they won't say this out loudly these days. In order to destroy the samples, the US and Russia have to trust each other's word, or simply just not care if other nations lie about destroying them, then moving the smallpox research to backdrop. Some laboratories have also found and then killed forgotten samples, suggesting that there could be other neglected samples that no one knows about, and this is point number 2. Point number 3, smallpox could survive in dead bodies. Smallpox, as far as the viruses go, survives fairly well in dead tissues. And there are a lot of dead people due to smallpox, at least hundreds of millions of them. People have already found dead smallpox virus particles and DNA in bodies as old as ancient Egyptian pharaoh Ramesses V, although they haven't found any live viruses. No one knows how long smallpox can survive under these kind of conditions. One could consider the lack of live viruses unearthed so far as evidence that this scenario is unlikely. But in recent years, as this Nature piece reported, when an old smallpox scab turned up on workers uncovered in the 19th century mummy of a smallpox victim, the CDC comes on to investigate using security precautions just in case. Point number 4. Scientific curiosity may prevent the destruction of smallpox stocks. The WHO is currently very strict about what smallpox research can be done. It has to pre-approve everything. And right now, it will only approve research for direct public health benefits, not for scientific curiosity's sake. But scientific curiosity does exist, and it could be an unspoken factor that has led people to continue to postpone smallpox kill dates for over 30 years. Even if people sequence the genomes of every single sample, that might not be the total sum of everything that can be learned from them. The more we study organisms, the more complex they turn out to be. For example, people thought that all heritable information in humans were contained in the genome in DNA code. But that is not true. Now it's become clear that there is a secondary level of information that is also passed down from generation to generation and influences how DNA is used. Check out the details in epigenetics. Likewise, scientists don't even know some of what they might miss if these particular smallpox samples are destroyed. Point number 5. We could always recreate smallpox from genetic information. One could argue that in the information and genetics age, nothing really dies forever. It just dies under the technology to resurrect, it reappears. As for smallpox, the time is now. Using its genetic sequence, people could make smallpox from scratch today. The technology is here, and so is the necessary information. The complete DNA sequence of roughly 50 smallpox samples are available in the public domain. This means that people could make smallpox in the laboratory. Someone could, if they wished, recreate live virus from scratch just from public information. Grant McFadden told a reporter. Now, he's a virologist at the University of Florida who doesn't work with live smallpox, but has advised the WHO on smallpox research. A sophisticated laboratory could resurrect smallpox right now. And at some point in the near future, anyone could. And if that is the case, then what would destroying the sample in these 2 labs in the US and Russia really accomplish? We might be able to destroy smallpox this year, but we won't be able to destroy it forever.
When we stop and look back at the last few years and our COVID experience, this door of information becomes more valuable. We now know the importance of studying the pathogens and the hostile bacteria in our ecosystems and their implications to humanity per se. Man will always find ways to encounter the vagaries and the challenges of nature, but there is an unseen line that the enemy doesn't let us cross. Nature will always win this war of natural selection. Let us hope and pray that this smallpox doesn't resurrect itself again and spread sorrow along its path. More strength to this thinking sapien.
If you like the content of this video, do like and subscribe to my channel Meet Meenamma. Don't forget to click the bell icon for regular updates. Also do comment and interact with Meenamma. I would love your opinions. Meenamma looks forward to meeting you again in the next video and episode. Till then, ladies and gentlemen, have a great life and make a difference. Oi, Meenamma. Oi, 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 Meenamma.